Carrie. We are live.
Happy hump day. Hump day. It's a hump day, y'all.
It's a hump day. We here. We talking about it. Melanated money, right?
Melanated money.
Money. So it's a lot. We got a lot. We waiting on Moni and got a lot to discuss, and we just here went through another week. This is the last week of the month, right? Am I right? Is this the last week of the month?
This month went by so fast. What's today? Like 20?
It's the 27th.
I don't even remember March. How about that?
Yeah, it's the 27th. The month is almost over. So yeah, we had a quick. This was a quick.
It is.
Month. Right.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
a lot going on. A lot going on, but not really. We had we talking about money, and I'm not gonna put everybody out there because I don't know if they want to know their business. But in one of my little circles, we done bought 2 houses, cars, and yeah, we've been making money moves. So yeah.
Nice job, black people, right?
All right,
melanated people, right? Okay.
Melanated people, my guess.
That's what I'm talking about.
Shout out to all of us, right? All of us, and the things we've been doing and moving and I thought that melanated money we was going to discuss, but I was the more I was looking at what we need to probably discuss, the more I was saying that this might take more than we might need to do it every week or something. I don't know. Every month, not every week. My bad.
Well, I think that would be a good thing.
It's a lot. It's a lot that we can learn, and it's a lot that we can share. Not necessarily saying our way is right. Again, the disclaimer is that we just know what we know, and this is from our thoughts and our experiences. So it is what it is. What's going on, Moni?
What's up, y'all? Sorry for the technical difficulties, but I'm here. What's up? Good week, good life.
Hair looking fly.
Good.
Ready for summer.
She keep that dude laid.
Ready.
Yes, she do.
Yeah. We talking about the melanated money, right? Melanated money.
Wait, first, shout out to Miss Lucy. Miss Lucy. Two thumbs up for Miss Lucy.
So you spent your melanated money with a melanated boutique owner.
That's right. So I can look melanated fly. You got that right.
It was in the budget, though. It was in the budget. Oh.
Right. She kicked it.
That part.
I told her she the crack dealer.
Right.
She the good crack dealer.
We need to do another Miss Lucy showcase. I need to pick up.
She's in LA right now getting us some goodies.
Okay.
Oh, is she? Good for her. Safe travels, Miss Lucy.
So yeah, let's go straight to it. Let's just talk about how do we handle money? Now, we handling money like our parents did. Are we doing what our parents did, or the way our parents handled money was right, was it wrong? What's your thoughts on that?
I think that our parents did what they had to do. I think from generation to generation it elevates. You know what I'm saying? They went from watching their parents hide the money in the coffee can to them hiding the money under their parents hiding it in the mattress. Then they went from the mattress to the bank. And then, our generation did the same as far as putting the money in the bank. They did savings bonds. We're learning to do stock. You know what I'm saying? The exennials and the millennials are doing stocks, cryptocurrency. they hustling to work, but we still feel like we need to have an 85. Well, I think it evolves generation to generation. You know what I'm saying? As far as, and it looks like it's getting better. I'm hoping, that it get better. But I can say a lot of our generation, we were not taught
and see
what the real value of money is.
What you think? Because you said hiding money in the mattress. I had a relative that hid the money underneath the rim of the carpet in the living room. Do you think our parents and grandparents had to do that because banks wouldn't deal with us? Because we couldn't put our money in a financial institution?
I think it's also not only because they didn't deal with us, but they didn't trust them. They've treated us so bad for over 400 years. There was really no reason for them to trust them. They were still the white man. You know what I'm saying? You know who owned the bank. You'd be better off being a maid, getting a loan from the person that you clean the house from, and let them either give it to you as a gift or take a little bit out of your check and you pay them back, versus going to the bank with the scrutiny that you're talking about.
This may be true, but I know, and I'm just talking from, my parents. They dealt with the black bank. We all from Hampton, and used to be the black bank on Kickintown Road. I don't know if y'all know about that, but it was a black bank. We dealt with the black bank all the time. So, my first savings account, you got the little book, you got a little book every time you put money in the bank.
Yeah.
So we dealt with black. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure my parents kept money in the house or whatever, but we dealt with the black bank. I don't remember until I was older dealing with the regular bank or whatever. But as to say, and I think we mentioned this before, as our parents though, they may have handled money differently, but we never had lights cut off, or always had a place to stay, owned our own home, had our own cars. We our parents went to work every day, and that mindset, they may not have told us how to handle the money, but whatever they were doing worked for them, I think.
I agree with that. Yeah.
What?
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Carrie.
Oh, I was just gonna say my experience was, my parents have always been, I think, financially savvy, because I don't ever remember coming home and the lights were off, the water was off, want no food in the house. And I didn't go through any of that. And I think they managed their money well. But where I fucked up at was I wasn't listening when I was much younger. When my daddy was giving me advice on how much to save, per paycheck, pay yourself first. And if you do this now, you'll have this much in this much in 20 years. Or what were those things he used to get? Bonds. He used to buy bonds all the time, savings bonds.
Yeah.
Yep. And he paid for many a vacation for us, that way with his savings bonds and stuff like that. So shout out Chuck Thurman, because you always told me the right shit about my money. My apologies, I didn't listen when I was much younger, because I fucked up a lot of money.
We did.
Yeah.
We all did.
Yeah, we fucked some shit up.
Well, also though, Carrie, you were saying your dad went on vacation. That was a privilege that not everybody had. I mean, we went on vacations as well, but a lot of people hadn't even been on vacations until they became adults to take themselves.
Norfolk was the vacation.
Going across the water.
Across the water. Now, we used to, I swear, used to cut up a whole chicken with some bread just to ride across the water. It was a whole event. I had me a 2-piece by the time we got to the I ain't waiting on the dinner. What's dinner?
Won't nobody go see about no food where mama could cook it right at home and pack it a trip, right?
Across the water.
But the funny thing is, and my sister was talking about this, about how we used to always pack food, like you were just saying, Monica. We always pack food and have chicken and whatever. And she said that we didn't realize it, but sometimes they packed the food not because they didn't want to stop, but because back, if you think, we were all born in the late 60s, but in the early 70s, they were still racist and were still places that our parents didn't want to stop and didn't want to go because it was still very racist then. And I didn't know that or never even thought about it, being 4 or 5 years old or whatever. But they was like, that's a lot of times why they packed food, not because they were necessarily being cheap, but because it was places they knew where they didn't want to stop. And if you're traveling like going south or even going north, because we went to New York and Jersey and Connecticut and stuff, but it was places that you just didn't stop. My dad never stopped in different places when we were driving through, and I never thought about it until I got older. It was a method to that madness. It was really, he won't just ruin it, but yeah. But
what was that book called that Black people used when they were traveling?
The Green
Book. The Green Book.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was called. Black Person's Guide to Safe Traveling.
Yeah. Or like the Chitlin Circuit and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right.
Where they knew what hotels to go to and all of that. Yeah.
So do you think that our philosophy on money stemmed from our parents? Because I know that a little bit of mine did, because I come from my dad was an entrepreneur. He worked a 9-to-5 all his life, but he was a little rebel in himself because he would quit a job. He'd be like, "F them crackers," you know what I'm saying? I ain't doing shit, and he didn't have a problem. He didn't have a problem suing them either. So we moved around, and sometimes it wasn't even the crackers, it was just other Black people. But yeah, he was an entrepreneur. He did really well in entrepreneurship, and didn't understand it when he was younger what was going on, why we had all these receipts on that big ass 10-key ad machine, adding gas receipts into the in March and April, and but yeah, I think some of that philosophy rubbed on me. But I don't know, did your parents' philosophy or grandparents rub on y'all, or how did your philosophy change?
Go ahead, take care. I'm sorry.
My bad. I was just gonna say briefly, in my family, like on both sides of my family, everyone was self-employed. Whether they were a minister, a farmer, a carpenter, a bootlegger, they were all self-employed. My father went into the military, retired from the Air Force, worked at the shipyard, retired from the shipyard. I remember my mother and her best friend talking briefly when I was a little girl about opening their own restaurant, because they were both excellent cooks, right? And I remember my father encouraging my mother to do so, but they never did it. And she and I talked about that recently, and I kind of hear like a little bit of regret in her voice for having not ever tried. But like I told her, it was a reason for everything. Your husband worked hard all his life. You never had to work. Her work was inside the home, not outside of the home. And he provided and took care of her. And so now I find myself, when I'm in situations with, making purchases or budgeting every month, I just always reflect on my father, him being hardworking, being the provider. And I mean, he stuck it out. Like, he went through so much shit in the military with white folks, and even in the shipyard, with white people too. And he did what he had to do. So kind of doing what I have to do too.
Yeah. I think one thing that stands out for me is when the elders used to say, "Oh, you better put your money up, because what we pay for a pack of pork chop at the grocery store, we pay for a whole pig, for a whole hog." And I think that really stuck with me. Watching my aunt, who was the help, if she didn't put but $5 a week in her savings account when she got paid, it was $5. When she had more, she had more. I had an uncle that had a bank account from the 60s. He didn't put any money in it again since the 70s. And when he passed away in the mid 90s, he had over $60,000 in his bank account. Majority of it was interest. You know what I'm saying? Because he let it sit. And so I think those kind of things just resonated in me, that saving something is better than nothing. That every week I put something in all of my accounts. You know what I'm saying? Just to put away. And it adds up. It really does. It's almost like, remember when we used to do the Christmas fund back in the day? And you put it in and you couldn't get it out till October. You remember that? So, I just think those things have groomed us. You know what I'm saying, Dr. Graves? Sister Carrie, I think those things have groomed us. I do think that we evolved because then we all of a sudden started hearing about what white people already knew about stuff. What is that? You know what I'm saying? Wanted to dibble a little bit. We started with the bonds, Sister Carrie, like you said. I remember Daddy used to get those bonds and bring them home. That was for me to go to college. You know what I'm saying? Then I decided to have a baby as a teenager, so it went towards him. But there was something to cash in with those $50 bonds. You know what I'm saying? My daughter's father, her biological father, sent her to school partially on bonds he had purchased ever since she was a baby, and didn't cash them in until she went to college. You know what I'm saying? So I think some of those things groomed us, but we did venture out into other things. Now, I think grasping for the million is something that we thought that wasn't obtainable. But once you have more knowledge about cryptocurrency and ETFs and stuff like that, EFTs or whatever you call them, and Bitcoin and stuff like that, we ventured out more and, decided that, once we understand how to calculate wealth, purchasing property, things like that, we know that it may be doable. So I do think still, you're right, they've instilled it in us, but we've evolved it some over time.
I agree. And I agree because in the stock market crash in the 30s or whatever, y'all know my parents are 90 or old, and in upper 90s, and I would ask my aunts, and I was like, well, so the stock market crashed and people was jumping out the windows and killing themselves and broke because they lost all their money. And my aunt was like, we didn't even know the stock market crashed. We didn't even know it didn't affect us one way or another. We didn't even know what the country was going through, It was like, because they were self-sufficient. They lived on a farm in South Haven County, and everything they ate and whatever they did for themselves. And so I'm wondering, like, the white people knew it, but look what happened to them. And that might be another reason that black people say, I'm keeping my money in the house. I'm not putting my money in the bank. Look what happened to them. They lost their damn minds.
Yeah, they did.
Which is smart. Which is smart to me. Yeah.
Yeah. You talking about the savings and loan deal back in the 80s?
No, I'm talking about back in the 30s and the great, when that people was going crazy. And
that savings and loan thing too took everybody for a loop. Nobody ever saw that happen before. They talked about the 30s, what you're talking about, but nobody actually, that was in real time. In what was that, 83, 84, somewhere back there?
Well, see, I've never been scared of the bank. That's me personally. I ain't never been scared of the bank.
Really?
So I feel like we could talk about investments and stuff, but I always feel like and that's what I had up here next was the bank accounts. Is that one, you can't be financially free or even just in the conversation of finance without a bank account.
Yeah, it ain't too much you could do today without a bank account.
No, you can't. Yeah.
And I know a lot of people, I know it's terrible, but I know a lot of people that just can't get bank accounts or don't have bank accounts. And I just don't understand. I don't understand.
Well, what's the alternative for someone who can't get a bank account? Is it
called
like
NetSpend? It's called NetSpend card. That's what this shit is. It's just like I never forget. I knew it was gonna be a holy hell mess when what's her name came out with the baby fat card. Y'all remember that?
Oh,
the prepaid
Simmons
card.
girl.
The prepaid joint. When they came out with the baby fat card, they felt like it got them closer to being in the rap game, to being in the realm of who these niggas were, and they got your ass. Because you didn't pay for the card. You got to keep a certain amount on there. You got to pay too much to get the money out. Then they evolved to the NetSpend card. So now people got NetSpend. Then the people still tried to help them out in the community. They gave them Wood Forest Bank at the Walmart. They still fucking that up. You know what I'm saying?
Wait a minute. I didn't know what that is.
Yeah,
I never heard of that.
That's the second chance, Jane. That's the second chance, Jane. And then you go to the
even credit unions give you
right. That's what I'm gonna say. You go to the credit union, you get the $500. You get the $500 credit card that you got to back it with $500, and you give them the $500, and you go to Walmart and charge the Jane up to $49.95. As soon as you walk out the credit union.
Why do we spend money like that? And I'm speaking about melanated people. Like, why do we go through money like that? Is it because like there was a time period where we didn't have it, so now that we have it, we want to just spend? Are we trying to keep up with the Joneses? Are we trying to improve our image? Like, okay. Well, I mean, pre-COVID, I used to love going in a thrift store. I ain't got no problem with thrift store, garage sale, all that stuff. You know what I mean? And would be proud to say, I paid $2 for this purse.
Yeah. Yep. I love the thrift store. And then just like Miss Cheney said, it's a poverty mindset. And I do believe that. I think it's generational. You know what I'm saying? We can't get it. Don't get me wrong. I wish I could give me some SA and a food stamp. But that's generational too. They just keep that poverty of they call it their wealth, but it's poverty wealth. If that makes any sense.
So does it go back to that mindset to they are handling the money the way their parent or guardian handled money? Is that like going back to that philosophy? Like my mama didn't know how to handle money, or my parent didn't know how to handle money, so I don't know how to handle money. We didn't discuss that at the table, or we didn't talk about money at the house, or is that why we keep? I mean, not a lot, because I don't want to say a lot of melanated people are poor, because that's crazy. Because a lot of Europeans are poor as well. Mm-hmm. So is that I'm thinking is the philosophy passed down generationally?
Yeah, but first of all, did they know that their moms was mishandling the money? Because they might look at it as if it was the best that their parent can do. You know what I'm saying? They might have mishandled the money, but when Christmas came, they still got those Jordans, or they still got their hoverboard. So do we really know that the person is? I know one thing, my husband James always say, to do better, you got to know better to do better. So if you don't know any better, right? And if you don't know that they are mishandling the money, how do you know that? I had to learn that money was being mishandled. You know what I'm saying?
You didn't.
I think Shani's right about fear. It's about the fear mindset too.
I feel like though you had to know a little bit, because if you don't have lights, but you just came back from vacation, or if your car got repossessed, somehow the money is a little mismanaged. Or do you say that's just how life is? Right.
Now look, Miss Blue said a lot of melanated people don't have disposable income. And I disagree with that, Miss Blue, and I'm going to tell you why. Going to McDonald's every day is disposable income. Popping bottles on Saturday at the club is disposable income. we want to pick and choose what we call disposable income. And let me tell you, when I figured that out, I figured it out during the recession. As I walked around to the stores and to the malls and stuff, just getting out, just to get out. I noticed people were buying what they wanted to buy. People went where they wanted to go. And some people just walked around and didn't have anything in their hands or no bags or anything. I learned at that moment that it doesn't matter what type of situation our economy is in, people gonna do what the fuck they want to do. It don't matter.
You're right about that.
So you got disposable income. It's all about how you appropriate or misappropriate your disposable income.
Well, you know what? I don't think that. Hey, Scotty, how are you?
What's going on, Scotty?
I don't think that necessarily McDonald's is disposable income. It's just money that we supposed to spend on a bill. We may just have used it at McDonald's. It's not disposable. It's just that we mismanaged it. We mishandled it. And I'm guilty of it, because I don't know if you guys are, but I know when you work all the time, and then at the end of the week, and you be like, shit, I'm going to buy me something. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get something. I'm tired of paying all these bills this week. And you get yourself something. And it's not a matter. Now, every week you can't do that.
Right.
And that's mismanagement of money. You see what I'm trying to say? It's like I'm at McDonald's, but I know I need to pay this water bill. You know? So
you want that triple cheeseburger with no filling.
Right. So it's not necessarily disposable per se, but what's up? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Reese and Reese? What's up, y'all?
Hey.
Congratulations to my melanated sister. Y'all closed on a duplex.
I did.
Yes.
A real estate mogul walking into the mogul life.
Congratulations.
Gary just closed on her house, Sharice.
Wow, way to go, sis. Way to go.
Yeah, the melanated is on the rise.
Can I say this? Congratulations, first of all, for everybody's accomplishment. Just to jump in real quick, when COVID hit for me, I'm just jumping in on the tail end. I hope I'm on target. I was driving straight truck, which only took a Class C license. So my company, they asked me, "You want to be laid off?" I'm like, "Why not?" And I got my COVID money, and I immediately enrolled in CDL class and got my CDL. So I utilized my time to develop my future at the age of 55. Tomorrow I'll be 56, praise God. So I took care of that, but I'm going to be real with y'all. When it comes to savings and stuff like that, I didn't get good at that until like 10 years ago.
What you said. What you said.
Yep. So we said the same thing.
Yep.
Trying to put a tractor trailer or a truck on the road to secure my future at the age of 55. And I'm just being real. I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. Let y'all think I got IRS and all this money. I don't. And I wish I did. And I try to stress to my kids, start now and don't wait until you get 55 to think about your retirement, because I'm guilty of exactly what I did with my life. And I'm really regretting it now, but I'm not going to stay in sad mode. I'm going to stay in, I got to do this mode right now to make sure that I'm good for the next 20, 25 years that I'm here, God willing.
And look, Scotty, don't regret it at all, right? Because it was almost like it's in the nick of time. And we also have the opportunity to share what we know now about money with our children and with our children's children. So they're not Johnny come lately in the financial savvy game, like how some of us are.
The only problem I have is when we don't teach our children or at least share with our children what we know, so they won't make the same mistakes that we made.
true.
Yeah, I try to be very transparent with Triness now about finances and stuff. You know, I didn't before because, you know how they say stay on a child base. Like, what you need to about how much money I spend, how many bills I'm paying, so and so. You see me sitting down at the table paying the bills, but like I never explained, oh, this is a check, you know, this is what a debit card does. None of that came until maybe like middle school or something like that. And then just trying to re-emphasize it more when she got her first job at 15.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, my thing is I've been trying to reach out to my children since they own their piggy bank, and I'm like, this is your best friend. This is gonna teach you how to save some money. And I'm telling my kids now that are still here to save up as much as you can now, because when you leave, you know, you can always come back. But when you leave, you're gonna say, I wish I did what my mom and dad said and went out with some cushion. Like I'm like, save all you can now, so when you leave, you can have 25, $30,000 cushion. You know, uh, do they do it? They're good at it. They're better than I am, so I got to give them some props on that part. Can they be better? Of course. Uh, did my father walk me down that aisle of saving money? No, all he said was save money. And then as I got older, you know, my dad would tell me, okay, say you paid off your furniture and your furniture bill was $200 a month. He would say, after you pay that furniture off, take that 200 and move that to another bill to pay that bill off early. And my dad was debt free when he died. He didn't owe anybody anything, and I think his condo in Ocean View, if I'm not mistaken, might have had maybe a year or two left on it. Because every bill that he paid off, he would take that money. Say he had two or three bills paid off, and all those bills added up to 500. He would take that 500 and he would go at another bill. He would act like he was still paying those other bills, but he'd take that money and transfer it to another bill. And my oldest brother does the same thing, and concept works, and they're debt free pretty much, other than your necessities.
I want to jump back because we were talking about us as melanated people spending money on J's and different stuff like that, looking good, feeling good. And what about, I was looking at this, I was on, of course, the internet, and it said poor is flashy, rich is loud, wealth is quiet. What do you think about that? Is that true?
That's very true, because I've been detailing cars for about 38 years, 39 years now. And I've met billionaires on down to people in the project. And say I would be cleaning your car at your job, and then, after we established a relationship, and now I'm invited to come to the house. But they would drive the Honda Accord to the job, but when you go to their house, there's the Bentley, there's the Mercedes, there's the RV around back. But the way they dress normal, not flashy people, and very surprising. And I'm like, you know what? Seeing you at your job, I would have never noticed, or not your job, but your establishment, your business that you own. John Crawford, and I'm gonna jump out after this. John Crawford, Eastern Telecom, Newport News, was 32 years old, was a millionaire. He was worth $40 million. He wore jeans, a button-down shirt, and a tie tied to right here that was never all the way up. Then I started researching this dude, and you would have never known he was worth $40 million back in 1990.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't dress like it. He didn't talk about it. He didn't bling up. And I would have never known.
Same thing out here. We learned that when we moved west. You got millionaires out here that live right around us. Wrangler jeans, Levi's, T-shirt, they boots, cowboy hat. You go to their house, like you said, it's Maserati, Bentley'd up, Some of them live in modest houses. Some of them live on acreage. You never know. You know what I'm saying? But you can't tell around here because you'll have somebody that live right down the street from us and they millionaires, but you'll go down about 10 minutes down the street where Fred Hammond live, and you got the best of both worlds. You know what I'm saying? So I think
I'll tell you this. Somebody told me one time when I was on a real designer kick, and they told me, they were like, yo, you don't have to get something with it, Gucci on it. If you got quality clothes, the people who can afford it know it. You don't have to have your brand showing all over your clothes, and you don't have to people gonna know who you are. They was like, the more people try to impress, that's what they look like. And that's what that flashy part came with. Flashy is usually poor. And that's what kind of hit me, because if you look at a lot of times, the people that's in the line for the J's, or the people with, Gucci down to the socks, unless you are Biggie, and Biggie had to get custom Gucci because he was so big, and people don't even realize that a lot of times, it's like, yo, you got on a $3,000 outfit, but it take you a week to make $3,000. It don't add up, And I think that's a lot of times, like us as melanated people, we want to be fly as hell. We want to be the flies in the building. And
you know what?
But just in defense of Black people, a very stylish type of people. We are like, look at Nigerians. That's like, they be flying shit and blinging and all of that.
Cuban too, Carrie. Cuban too. Yep. Latinos, Dominican. Yep.
We talk about Oh, but no, we stylish. But a lot of us Americans like to wear designer to show that we are, we somebody, right?
Right.
But you don't know that somebody with that little that still fly and got a Gucci dress on don't say Gucci nowhere. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Well,
they got the red bottoms on. They never show you the bottom. You know what I'm saying?
If we go back to slavery, and we're talking over hundreds and hundreds of years ago, we had to look like we were somebody because we knew nothing. We had to impress people. And you don't think that gene is now existing to this day? And we're going to go back further than slavery. We were somebody. We were kings and queens. We were flashy. We were blinged up because we had it all. And then you take those same people and you rob them of all of that. And then you degrade them. You take them to the lowest point of life. And then you come out of that, weren't able to read, weren't able to write. And then all of a sudden you're thrown into the world. Well, in order for you to get a job coming out of slavery, you had to look like you knew something. So think about the year after year after year of people doing that. Those genes don't leave. They get better. That becomes a part of our DNA. Trauma DNA. All of that's a part of our DNA. So I said, you know what I said to my wife one night? I said, you know why we're so colorful? Because we were from the beginning. You know why we like to look nice? Because we were from the beginning. And, this is a whole nother conversation. But also at the same time, what were we taught to do? We were taught to be consumers and buyers versus investors. And then when you come from a family that don't leave you anything, what you going to invest? It's like Monopoly. You can't play Monopoly unless that banker give you money to start off with. We haven't been fortunate to get that money to play Monopoly. So Black people gonna look important. They're gonna look wealthy even if they ain't. Cause a lot of us try to fake it until we make it.
Right.
I don't know if that made sense or not, but
it's like who you trying to impress. A lot of times though, if I got a $10,000 bag, you better believe I got $10,000 to put in it.
I agree.
So why am I gonna walk around with a $40,000 bag like Beyonce? But Beyonce and her husband are billionaires. So ain't no
I'm not
way,
trying to do that.
you know. And then some people do that, and it's like, does that make you look crazy? A little bit. It do a little
Yeah,
bit,
it does.
because
It does.
I know you work, you know, at Chuck E. Cheese, but you got a $40,000 bag or $20,000 bag.
That's your whole yearly salary went through.
Yeah, you know, and it's like, it's levels to it. But it was also a statement that said the poor is always poor because they spend most of their money. And I believe to a point that that's true.
It is. It is. I believe in faking it till you making it with within your means. I don't believe in me going out and getting a pair of. I don't believe me going out and getting Mercedes Benz, and my Benz cost more than my house, which I see a lot. I can go down certain areas here in Maryland, ride by a trailer park, and I see a Corvette parked out front, and the Corvette costs more than the trailer. But that doesn't mean he's broke or he's spending his money foolishly, because that guy with that trailer could have a $500,000 saved up, and he's living below his means. But that's the car of his choice. I've seen that. Like, dude is retired from the military, work for the government. Go ahead, Carrie.
How likely is it?
Go ahead, Carrie. I'm sorry.
How likely is it that someone's priorities may just be different than ours?
True. Agree.
Like, I mean, it could be as simple as that. Like, the guy with the trailer and the Corvette, like, maybe to him it's more important for him to be riding around in a fat ass whip. You know what I mean?
With a $500,000 in the bank or $1 million in the bank, and he's living in the trailer.
But but to Sonia's point earlier, some shit is just dumb shit. Like, it's just identifiable as doing some dumb shit, like going to Miami but not paying your fucking. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna tell you some other dumb shit too. You tithing and don't have no savings. I'm sorry, church people, but I'm just keeping it on.
Agree.
You tithing 10% to the church, and you ain't got 5% in the damn bank. Where they do
That's some kind of programming. That's like some kind of financial programming.
My father always taught me, pay yourself first, then you tithe.
Yep.
Well, my daddy said pay yourself first, but I don't remember him saying shit about tithing.
No, my aunt said, look, Aunt Sarah gave $5 a week to the church. She made it till she was 100, and ain't nobody gonna tell me that if there's a heaven that she ain't there.
There you go.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay?
I tithe. I just don't tithe to church, but I tithe.
Yeah, I tithe too.
That's it.
Church.
Yeah. Because my father, I can remember my father. He would oftentimes help people in community on the low. You know, I'm just like really coming to learn this. And then I remember and I think, I'm like, damn, yeah.
Because I feel like
just some dope shit.
When you give with your heart and you give in, because it's like, I feel like you give with your heart, you get it back in return. And I feel like that's how money flows in and out of the palms of your hands, my hands, or whatever. And I don't do GoFundMe though. And we're gonna talk about GoFundMe next week and insurance, life insurance. I mean, not next week, but next month. But I feel like though you are giving. You got to have a giving spirit though. You can't give. Okay, I'm gonna give this person $20 so I can get 100 back on Tuesday. It ain't like that, you know. Right. But that's tithing to me. I mean, tithing is when you giving to for people in need. And a lot of times the churches ain't in need, you know. And
can I jump in real quick? Imagine if everybody tithed with a person. We wouldn't need churches to take care of people. Like, for example, in Saudi and a lot of those countries over there, like all their taxes goes to the less fortunate people, like Dubai. You can be homeless or not homeless. You can be broke and you wouldn't know it because all of the money that goes into their taxes takes care of the less fortunate. So think about that concept if the United States did that. Or just think about other countries that if they did that. So, and like I talked to somebody that lives in Dubai, and they said all their taxes goes to people that can't work, that were living on the street. That's why they don't have homeless people. So my thing is to these churches, Why don't we teach to give to one another? Which they do, but instead of tithing to a building, let me tithe to my neighbor's license got cut off.
Yeah, but they keep coming back.
But that's what we do. That's what we do.
They keep coming back for the benevolence. That's the damn problem. You know, we don't know how to elevate.
As Black people, you give to. I mean, because you can take a loss one time if somebody lights get cut off and you pay for them, and then next time they ask you, don't have to turn them on. You can give it to somebody else. Like, all right, we gave it.
Right. Pay it forward. Pay it forward.
Right. So I'm saying we have to be a giving culture because we always looking scared that somebody else is going to be doing better than we are, so we can't
exactly.
a giving culture. And I think again,
we want to go to the club and
shit. We don't know how to handle money.
No, we want to go to the club and turn up and shit.
I'll say this here, like, you know, a lot of people be like, "Oh man, look, that homeless person right there, I ain't giving to him. All they gonna do is go get high with it." Let me tell you this. First of all, you got to be careful who you judge, because I know a brother that stands on the corner and panhandles every day, and I sat down and had a conversation with him one day, and he lost me a few times, and I knew why he couldn't hold the job. But then he dresses nice. You know why? He stays in Grassroots, a place that helps people get on their feet. So he gets clothes donated to him. But if you saw him on the corner, you'd be like, "Man, he dressed too nice. I ain't giving him nothing." Me, I don't judge. I give. And the universe will bless you in return on what you do in the universe, whether that guy deserved it or not. That's between him and the universe and God. So what I do is I still give. So my point is, don't judge who's on that corner panhandling, because you don't know their psyche, you don't know what state they're in. You just don't know unless you sit down and talk. So the one brother, I'll ask him, "Tomorrow I'm gonna come around here around such time. Are you gonna be here? Do you mind if I bring you a hot meal?" He was like, "Not at all." I said, "Where do you stay?" He said, "I stay in Grassroots." So one day I'm around Grassroots and I see him leaving. So he wasn't lying, but he looked nice. And I know this brother well because now we have a relationship. So I bless this brother every time I see him. If he wants a beer, I'll buy him a beer.
It's right. I mean, a lot of people look nice, but they still need help. And I'm saying, to me, I'd rather give you one time and then teach you how to get your own than to continue to give to you. Mental illness is a whole nother subject, or, you know, people.
There you go.
But people who, I'd rather teach you how to give money, make money, and keep your money than to continue to support you. Because I don't have children that I pay child support on, so I'm not going to pay no adult support. And but yeah, so I think, you know, it's a lot of other stuff we want to talk about. We didn't even hit on investing or anything like that. But you know, we gonna hit that next one. But next week, I think we're gonna
Can we stay on this topic next week? Can we?
Oh no, next week is Melanated After Dark. And
yeah, we get raunchy next week.
We got Melanated After Dark. So Angel gonna show us what she got new, and gonna tell us about her twerk lessons and her what she had on her party. And we need to get a date to get her on the East Coast, yo.
Right.
Yo, for real.
Quick question: where did twerking originate from?
I don't know, because I've been looking at some videos from back in the 30s, and I'm like, that's working. This is slow.
Oh no, but it didn't come from bend your knees and arch your back. I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah, it's just a little faster. It's just a little faster.
Bend your knees.
Y'all.
Yes.
I love it.
Next week, so
Monica, you so funny.
And what's that boy named Luke? Get it?
And Monica about to do some stand-up comedy somewhere on the internet, because she's funny.
She could do it. Look, it's been said before.
We were telling her. Oh, look, T.I. got boo. Y'all see that? T.I. would try to do a stand-up. He got boo.
Yes, I do.
What do they call it? A one-girl show or some shit?
Can I come up with a topic? Can I come up with a topic one Wednesday?
Sure.
That would work.
We need
to do a we need to throw a topic in a hat. Throw a topic in a hat Friday, post it on our site, and let people come up with stuff. That'll be good.
But in the meantime,
that's a real good idea.
We gotta go.
We gotta go.
Okay.
Holla, y'all.
Love y'all.
Peace
Peace
out.
and blessings. One.